Hello, beautiful human. I am so excited because we are about to catch up with Rosie. She has a solo project out now. If you haven't heard it, there's a link in the description below. Please leave your honest feedback in the comment section below. Also, like the video, and I'm begging you to subscribe because without that subscription, we can't keep doing what we do. So please, we beg you for your support, and I promise I'll keep feeding you. Okay, Rosie.
Let's do this. Show.
Hello, beautiful human. I am Zach. That is Dan, and we welcome Rosie.
Hey!
Hi. Feels great to be back.
I am so excited to be talking to you. There is a lot to discuss here, including a solo project, a project that I remember very vividly. Maybe, I don't know, I've lost track of time. 3 or 4 years ago, you were on this couch and slightly teased, like the slightest, tiniest little bit you fed us. How long have you been working on this?
Oh, wow. I think we could say like longest 3 years. Like the first song that I recorded on my own, and we kind of marked it as, oh, this could be potentially Rosie's solo song, was like 3 years ago. So quite a long time ago.
Wow. So you've been working on your story through music for 3 years now, and when you first listen to a song, like, how do you listen? Like, and this could be a song for you or Blackpink. How do you hear it? What do you listen for?
Well, first of all, I think I literally try to make a kind of like a blank page, and I'm just like, yep, I'm a blank canvas, and I'm just waiting for it to kind of speak to me. Definitely. There's just always that moment where you're like, yep, this is perfect, everything's amazing, we have to work on this one. What do I look at? I think I kind of go for a lot of like lyric wise. If it kind of speaks to me, that's important. And if it's a song that doesn't have lyrics yet, then it's like, it's just any type of melody that kind of like really draws you in, like first impression, just everything. If it looks like me or sounds like me, then I'm like, yep.
On the Ground has all of that, right? I mean, like, right out the gate when you first hear it, is it like meant for you?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know. Like, so it wasn't even pitched for like just me. It was just a song that came through, and we were like listening to, like, it was a very rough draft, but I was like, I liked it, and I think my producer too. We were just like, oh my god, this is so cool. I mean, the sound was really cool and everything. So, actually, yeah, of course, this song was like a song that we talked about. Like, we heard it once and we talked about it again, and like I don't know, like, it was just like in an instant it was like, yep, this is gonna be the song. And I remember just like we like kind of finished off recording it, did some retouches, but then like we're already having a music video meeting like next day, I remember, and it was like crazy.
Dan loves the music video.
Well, there's so many hidden things in the music video, and I was watching it like 30 times last night trying to find all the little hidden Easter eggs or secrets you may have hidden in there.
Yeah.
So the question I had first is, like, you write Rosie on the mirror, then it switches to your real name, Roseanne. What's the meaning behind that scene?
So the director kind of wanted, like, me to kind of act out like maybe like an old version of me, and have the younger past version of me write Rosie on the mirror, and he wanted so it'd be kind of like the past me looking into the future, writing my future stage name Rosie, and then my future self to be writing my old name, Roseanne. So it's kind of weird because when you're younger, you look into your future like, oh my god, when I grow up, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that. And then for me, now that I'm like, working, and I'm, being, trying to be an adult and everything, funny thing, I think I tend to look back on my older days, and there are a lot of traits about me back then which I admire now. I'm like, wow, back then I was like this. I was this kind of a person. I was very driven. Like, I had the wildest dreams. I'm like, and I like aspired to be myself that I was in the old days, I don't know, that's like, I think that's pretty ironic, and I think he tried to portray that, which I like.
But also really special, right? Like as you progress in life, you've realized the qualities from your past that you want to keep with you, that you want to maximize on and expand upon. But I'm sure at the same time, you've left things in the past too that maybe you didn't want to carry with you, right?
Of course, definitely, you learn from your mistakes and then you grow up. But I don't know, for me, I don't know if it's the same with anyone. Of course, every day I'm like, oh my God, I learn from my mistakes and I am growing as a person. But there is a lot of me that was like, if somebody asked me to be a trainee again and do all that I did, you know, when I was in my like teenage years, like if they tell me to do that again, I'm like, I can't do it. I don't know how I did it. So it's like, yeah.
You wouldn't do it again because you don't know how you were able to conquer it. But really, the truth is you had something inside of you the whole time, right? This unwavering, this constant dedication and focus and desire.
That's the thing, like that's like the whole point of the song, I think, is like, I think nowadays I'm like, oh my God, like I'm trying to look for like what is my main purpose in life, and what am I looking for, what am I doing all this for? Every day I wake up, like work from like, you know, morning to like, you know, sunrise to like sunset, and I'm like what am I doing it for? And then you think like it was all in me, like everything. I'm trying to look outwards, like what am I doing this for, like what am I trying to achieve? I'm trying to look outwards, but basically I have to look inwards, because that, like you said, that old version of me is already me. And so I'm just kind of like trying to check back into who I am as a person, what I value the most.
So that's one of my questions that I had here is like, the concept is always about like what you really need is on the ground. So what do you genuinely need to get by, Rosé? Like, what is happiness to you, essentially?
So that's what I'm saying, as in, if I think about it, like, on the ground, like, so many ways to interpret that, right? Like,
Yeah.
like when a plane lifts off, you're, like, on the ground, and it lifts up, and you need to be on the ground for it to, you know, kind of, like, speed up to, you know, fly. And so, like, everything we need is, like, built in us, like, as in, when I was a trainee, I think my family meant to me the most. So they were my biggest happiness. My love for music was most important. I didn't care about what other people thought. It was just about me enjoying it. Like, oh my God, I love singing like in this tiny room like for like 7-8 hours, because I just enjoy it. But like, you know, as soon as you start to get things out of it, that's when you start not enjoying it. And I feel like just checking back into those things, like family, like just like my love for music. It's just like really simple. It's not even that big.
No, but it's those simple things that result in the biggest impacts, right? And like the concept of like one day you could sing in a room by yourself alone and love every second of it, and then the next day you're singing because you have to sing, because it's work to sing. And it does change a little bit.
It should never be that way though, right? And that's why I think I hope that this is a song that kind of reminds us that, you know, you just gotta stick to what you actually like started these things for.
And by the way, like I think that is a reminder for everybody.
Yeah, well, it kind of seems like you're saying, you know, you worked your whole life to become Rosé the superstar, but sometimes you kind of miss the life that you were living before.
Of course. But I mean, of course people are like, they think like it's all about like me, like saying I'm such a big person now, and like now I'm like, but that's not really it. It's just about where I'm at as an adult. Like I feel like now I feel a little more confident in my skin than I used to be, and like I'm like kind of starting to work and kind of enjoy it a little more, and like just me with where I am as an like adult, whilst I'm doing that, I'm also looking for like purpose in life, and like where I'm at, what I'm doing this for, like what does this all mean. Just like I think everybody could relate to it, so I really hope that people don't take this in as like, oh, Rosie's singing about how amazing she is, like or like where she is and like how successful she is, but like that's not really it. It's just talking about my stage in life, how I have worked my whole life to get to my dreams. And like, you know, I'm like just every day I'm going there, but it's like, wait, hold on, let's not always look forward, let's always also look back at who I am as a person, and kind of, take care of the things that actually mean to me.
What did you learn from your time with BP that set you up perfectly to release this solo project?
That's a really good question, because I have been talking about how this whole solo project has kind of brought me to realize how much I actually have learned as Blackpink. Um, I'm actually really, if I was to do this all by myself since day one, then I would not be able to do it. Like handling everything, just knowing how everything's working, but like just like the whole, like, with Blackpink, we've worked so many hours like straight on. And so, like, just having that, like, kind of stamina to keep up with everything that's happening, just like the whole process of releasing music, I've done that like so many times with my members, so that like I'm experienced. But back then I had my fellow like teammates to kind of rely on, and so I kind of, I learned through that process. So now that I'm by myself doing it, I'm much more comfortable and I know what's gonna come. So I feel like, yeah.
It's special. It's special having, one, that experience, but two, they must mean something to you throughout this process, right? Whether it be security or just ears that are willing to listen.
Yes, definitely. It's just like I definitely feel like it's like I'm not doing this alone. They're there when I need them, and they're like, I just like, yeah, it's like family. It's like you just know that your family's always gonna be there, no matter what. It's like exactly like that.
Hey, beautiful human, I gotta hit pause real quick to tell you about my favorite native deodorant. I'm obsessed. One, because it's made with things that I understand. Tapioca starch, shea butter, coconut oil, but it also works. It's also vegan, never tested on animals, and Native has figured out a way to make deodorant come to you plastic free. It's pretty freaking amazing. And there's scents that are guaranteed to make your nose dance. My favorite right now is cucumber and mint. This one right here is citrus and herbal musk. It is very delicious. I also am a big coconut and vanilla guy. I highly recommend. If you want to try out native deodorant, you can do it right now. Get 20% off. Just go to nativedeo.com/Zach. That is nativedeo.com/Zach. Oh, and by the way, there's no risk to try right now. You'll get free returns, exchanges, all within 30 days. And there's like so many 5-star reviews. nativedeo.com/Zach. Try it out. nativedeo.com/Zach. I promise you'll like it.
What's been the biggest challenge so far that you found releasing a solo project and doing it by yourself?
First of all, like the responsibility. Like back then, like not back then, like with my members, it would be all four of us. It's like a quarter of it. We get to share the responsibility. Like everything we do is, like I have a big audience that is kind of tuning into every single thing that I do, and I do want to be a great role model for all my listeners out there. And so it's like the responsibility, I would say, it's all on me. So it's like makes everything a little more like I gotta be a bit more careful, and maybe just like the amount of work that is put in. Like I've learned to appreciate like how much my members, were very helpful in that way, because we would kind of like I would kind of take care of this, she would take care of that. When I'm like a little tired, like somebody else would be like kind of checking in on this and that. But now like it's all on me. Everybody's coming to me to check. Rosie, are we cool with this? And like I have to look at every single thing, so it's just like a bit more of work, but it's also very enjoyable.
It is freeing, but also scary, because the burden of responsibility is on you. It's all you. There's no three other shades of colors, painting this photo.
Definitely. So like everybody rocks up on set to work for me, and so it's like kind of like on me for everything to be doing well, if you get what I'm saying. Like everybody's kind of here for me, and so I'm like I gotta like be on my best behavior every day. I gotta be like up and ready to kill it every day, and I'm like but I mean it's like a lot of fun, because everybody cares about me a lot, and we're all taking care of each other.
Gone is the other song on R, and it's very emotional, very powerful, and it's about loss. So when you first digest that song, is it hard to listen to, or what is it? Like, what goes through your head?
Oh, it's like a very vulnerable moment, I would say. I remember recording it first, and I felt very, like, relieved. It's like, I don't know, like I felt like I had finally spoken. Like, I don't know, it was like this song really spoke a lot of like just like things that happen in life, and you're like, oh my god, song is just like maybe it's like a letter that you never sent to someone and you feel like you finally got it to them. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Kind of.
yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like I wrote it in like sometimes when you're writing letters, you like write it and you're like, oh, that doesn't sound like anything that I wanted to like it to sound like. But let's say you finally get to your final draft of the letter, and it sounds like exactly like you want it to sound, and how they would want, like how I would want that person to read it. It's like kind of like that, maybe. Yeah.
It's the letter you're nervous to send, right? But you hit send, right? You did it.
Actually, as soon as I finished recording, I was like, send. Let's send it. I'm ready to release it. And that was 2 years ago.
Wow.
2 years ago, yeah.
So when you internalize that song and you bring emotion to the lyrics and you make the story your own, do you apply real life to it? Like, do you think who in your head deserves that letter from your past?
But I mean, the funny thing is, I don't think I have to think of a person. I think it's funny, but I think of myself. Like maybe that's kind of weird, but like I think of myself in a moment where I would really want to say something to somebody, and I would try to reenact a moment in my life where I felt really like, let's say, heartbroken, or just like where I feel very vulnerable. Like I think I tried to tune into that voice of myself, because like, you know, you have several voices in your head. There are some voices who are like, you know, that kind of try to like be like, hey, come on, like I'm in a dark place here, like help me out. And then there's a voice like, go Rosie, like in my head, right? But then there's that voice that's like, you know, help me out, I'm suffering, I'm in a lot of pain, and you know, I'm not okay. I think it's that voice that I try to kind of bring out in me, and I try to tune into that, and try to be as honest as I can. Like it's almost like acting for me. Like I don't want to be that person who just kind of like forces an emotion. I just want it to be another version of myself.
Totally get it. Thank you for sharing that, because the truth is, like, it is a, you know, yeah, it's a very honest, very vulnerable song to share with the world. And yeah, I mean, dude, searching for something but can't feel nothing. It's a beautiful record.
Thank you so much. That means
When
a
you're
lot.
going through a lot, who do you reach out to talk to? Because, you know, everybody goes through things, but not many people can relate to being in one of like the biggest groups in the world, having a lot of eyes on them and having a lot of pressure in that way.
Oh, who do I turn to? There are very few people that I turn to be honest. Like I can't say that I have like a lot of people. I think as I am kind of like maturing, I'm starting to notice that it only comes down to a very few people. That includes my family, and just out of all honesty, like so like my producer Teddy, he kind of supports us in so many ways, and he's very like experienced in this industry and everything, so he's a very good support and help as a friend and as like kind of like a mentor, I would say. So there are those very few, and then I noticed there are always those very few friends who call you in like the right moment. Like let's say I was fine all year, I was like the happiest person, and then there's just this one moment where I'm just like without much reason, like I don't think there has to be a lot of reason for it, but like there are just those moments where you just kind of like lost, and like I find like I have like a few of these moments where I like, let's say like crying, like sitting on my bed like crying, like oh my gosh, I don't know where I'm at, and then you get a call from that friend, and then she's like, what's up, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm crying is what's up. And it's like, and then you laugh about it and you're like, oh my god, that's like crazy, because that's when the friend kind of wakes you up, like, oh, you're doing fine, you know, like let me tell you, like out of all honesty. And there are those people who just know what to say in the right moment, and just know when to call when you need them, which is crazy.
And that's like the universe. And I think it also always comes down to quality over quantity every time.
Definitely.
It's not about having an army of people just ready to tell you whatever they think you need to hear.
Yeah.
It's about having a few, and professionally and personally, like Teddy must be an amazing guide. I mean, like that human being has made more history and created more incredible records. I mean, it's pretty astronomical. So you must learn a lot. I mean, every day, right? From somebody like that.
Yeah, but the most important thing is he knows how to be a great friend to us too. So I think that's like the biggest part, biggest support. Always very grateful, yeah, to have a friend like that around us.
Wow, we've covered a lot here, but we haven't talked yet about Hank, your dog.
Hank. I would have loved to have him here with me today, which I sometimes do, but today he was like passed out, so I kind of left him to sleep.
By the way, my dog Lou is doing the same thing this morning, and I didn't want to disturb him, so I said, have the house. You deserve it.
Have the house! That's kind of cool.
How did Hank enter your life? Why was now the time for a dog?
I don't know. I was always I wanted a dog for a long time, but I didn't want to just like kind of decide on it too quick, just because I wanted one. I just wanted it to be in the right moment. But I kind of felt like yeah, I don't know why. It was just like I was like, yep, I really want a dog, but I want to do it in the right way. So I did a lot of research before I did it. I'm sure a lot of people do that. Like, you know, like you start researching, watching so many videos about dogs, and you're like, I think I'm ready. Funniest thing, first day he comes, I don't know what to do. I'm like, and like Hank's like, I'm scared of you, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know. Why do I feel like, you know, I'm so like educated about it when I feel like I've studied for like the past month about dogs.
By the way, that is parenthood. I think that is like that is being a parent or having a responsibility, like a responsibility that is a thing that is in addition to yourself. Do you know what I mean? Like whether that be a kid or a cat or a dog, like this thing doesn't have thumbs. You are Hank's thumbs. Like he needs you for everything.
I know, and it's like, and like every day I'm like, oh my god, is this what I'll be like when I have a child? It's the weirdest thing.
The answer is could be, but also like Hank prepares you for that moment, you know?
Yeah, I know. I'm like, oh my god, I feel like I've already had a son, so it's like next son, like bring it on, which is weird. I shouldn't be talking about having children right now, but I don't know why. It's like, will I be like this when I have my first child? It's weird. Weird.
By the way, I think the same thing all the time, and my friends will see me interact with my dog, and I'll let my dog run me. You know, like I spoil him, he walks me, I don't walk him, and my friends are nervous for what a human child will be like that I help create. So
true, so true. I'm like, and I talk to him like, what's something make me like, baby, I love you so much. And I'm like, oh my gosh, people are gonna think I'm the weirdest person. And the funny thing is, like, I always look at my dog and I'm like, he's such a genius. Like, I think he's a genius. Like, he's. And everybody's like, all he did was like sit down and like hand. That's all he did. And what do you mean he's a genius?
I am also convinced that my dog is the smartest dog, and he can understand me. He understands words, and if he only had thumbs, he'd be able to run the world. I'm convinced of it.
So true. I totally understand what that feels like.
But by the way, like, see, this is a part of it. Like, don't you want to be your kid's biggest fan? You are Hank's biggest fan. Well, if I remember correctly, your dad wanted you out of the house at a certain point because you sang too much, but I'm assuming he's still your biggest fan.
I hope so. I hope if that is the case.
Well, at least you probably have Alice, you know, your sister, and you
yeah.
But you want to be your kid's biggest fan, right? Like your mom.
I know, but then like now, like recently, I've had a lot of work, and so my mom has been taking care of Hank a lot. So nowadays, I think he kind of likes my mom a bit more, which like it breaks my heart. I feel like so down when my dog kind of like wags his tail towards my mom and he kind of like ignores me. I'm like, ouch. Like, I feel heartbroken. Like, I think I could record a song right now. I'll be like, bring it on. All the sad songs. Seriously, I'm like,
Where did this emotion come from? My dog left me for my mom.
So like, oh my god, it breaks my heart the most these days when he likes my mom over me. I'm like,
But the truth is, when you're back in his life, there's nothing like your smell. My dog lived with my parents for 2 months, and when he saw me again, he freaked out. He peed himself. He was so excited because that's what geniuses do, I hear.
Yeah. Genius
Come on,
right there.
geniuses pee themselves.
But yeah, he freaked out. So there's nothing like your smell. Don't worry. He'll come back to you. Hank will always love you.
I hope so. Thank you for saying that.
Rose, I have a question. When you're working on your solo project, do you commit 100% of your focus to the solo music, or do you split the time between solo and Blackpink projects?
For us, I think we try to work on one project at a time, like when it's like just maybe about when it's like releasing and when we're preparing up for it. That's why we kind of put 100% on every project. And so as soon as it's kind of like, as soon as this kind of is like now out there and it's doing its thing, I guess we'll like slowly start doing like the next project that is planned for us. Yeah.
Doing its thing. You're, what are you, number 1 on the Billboard Global 200? Congrats on that.
Thank you so much.
It's an incredible record. Truly, On the Ground is a reminder record for me. I listen to it every day because it's just something that I need to, with work and life, it's really good to be reminded that like you strive for all this stuff, but the truth is happiness and fulfillment is what you've always known. It's what you've always had in your life. Like money and material things, they don't fill holes, Family, friends, my dog Lou,
Yeah.
Well, talking about that, can you talk about the lyric, I used to have a hole in the wall with a mattress?
The funny thing is I kind of had a crack in my wall. Yeah, I remember I had this not like I wasn't actually literally saying I had a hole in the wall with a mattress, but I mean it's just kind of trying to like describe how I started from someplace very, very humble, and now I am kind of running towards my dreams and goals, and just talking about how far I've come. But I would like to mention I did have a crack in my wall. I remember it started like at first it was like a clean wall. I remember there was like I don't know how you guys call it in the States, but like we call it a boiler. Like
Like a water heater.
Yeah, a water heater. Okay. And that like it was really hot. I remember because I used to like my room really warm, and like we'd always turn it on, and then like it was right behind my wall, I think, my room wall, and I think it started like melting the wall because I don't know. And then the wall started breaking, and then later on, like it literally started opening. And so basically, I kind of did.
Was this when you were a trainee, or is this back in Australia?
Back in Australia, but I mean, I honestly didn't write it like according to my actual like experience. But now that we mention it, I did kind of have a crack in my. I had a crack in my wall, not a hole in my wall, but yeah.
How have you grown as a human and as an artist after releasing these 2 records that are a part of R?
I mean, I'm still growing from it, I would say. Like you said, you listen to it every day. Me too. I listen to it every day because it's my job right now. But I find myself, like, let's say I feel like something hasn't, like, worked out, like, completely. Like, I would like it to, like, turn out as, or something's not, like, looking the way I want it to be. And then I'd be pretty down, let's say. I'd be down. And then I'm like, come on. This is the song I have. I should be living by it. I should be that role model living by my song. But I'm having to check in with myself and be like, wake up, I remember like my friend telling me like, hey, listen to your song. Like, cheer up, Rosie. And I'd be like, oh yeah, so I'm learning from it myself too.
Is R a continuing story? Like, will you add to this project as time goes on, or is R finished with these 2 songs?
Oh, that's something I'm gonna have to see in the future, but I did start, I should try to start it on a note where R is kind of like a representation of like the first alphabet in the name that a lot of people call me by, which is Rosie, Roseanne, Rose. And so it's supposed to be like the start of it, like the first alphabet. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm gonna have an O-S-E apostrophe thing, but it does represent that. So, I mean, I'll have to see. That's kind of what the future holds.
The different letters in your name. So, wow.
Yeah.
It's really creative. I like that a lot.
Do you, most people call you Rosie? Because I did notice you keep calling yourself Rosie.
Did I just say that? Okay, yeah. My friends and family call me Rosie.
Okay, that makes sense.
Sorry. I mean, I'm supposed to stick with the name Rose, but it comes out.
Well, no, I was watching other interviews before this to see like what else you've been talking about, and I noticed that you refer to yourself as Rosie, so I didn't know if you just felt more comfortable with that name, or if that's just the name you grew up with.
Yeah, Rosie's more of like a casual name that my friends and family, like people who are personal to me, call me. So like sometimes maybe I do refer to myself, like I go Rosie, yeah, like it'd be like something like if my mom would call me like Rosie, like my friends would be like Rosie, members would be like Rosie.
Hank would call you Rosie.
Yeah, he'd be like Rosie.
Or mom.
Give me some snacks, Rosie. Yeah.
R is the 2-song project right now. It On the Ground. John Bellion is a writer on this record. He is one of the he is an artist that's changed my life in such profound ways. The partnership there on that song is really extraordinary, and it makes me very happy. If you haven't heard it, which I'm sure you have, but please listen to it. We're going to get a link in the description below. Gone is the second song, and I hope there's more of your story, Rose, that comes out, and you share more records that make up, your
In the future?
in the future. Yeah.
Yay, thank you. I mean, I hope everybody looks forward to it now that the first version of my debut is out. But yeah, I hope so too. I'm excited. I'm definitely excited to see how this goes from here.
On the Ground and Gone, so good, so good. Yeah, thanks for hanging out and thanks for talking to us about all of it. I really, really appreciate your time and energy today.
Thank you. This was a very nice chat for me today.
You're amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate you, Rose.
See ya.
Bye.
Say hi to Hank for us, please.
I definitely will. And I can't wait to be back on your show with whatever we're coming out with next.
Please, anytime. You have an open door policy here, and yeah, I'm really excited to support On the Ground, and yeah, thank you for giving us energy. I forever appreciate you very much.
No, thank you very much.
Oh, peace and love.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, beautiful human, thanks for watching our full interview, but I get it. Like, a full interview is a lot, so we got a clips channel. We don't expect you to watch the full thing anymore, so we just gave you the highlights. Please subscribe and notifications and all that stuff. Okay, cool. I love you.